You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the Interactive Interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com.
So what you gonna do?
Let me talk to you, dummies.
Oh, yeah.
You're where it's at.
If you're smart like me, you gotta listen.
And if you don't listen to it,
I'll come out of your computer and body slam your ass.
Don't be a Melvin.
I will scar you.
open your third eye.
Woo! It's gonna be cool. Oh, what a rush.
It's showtime!
We had a lovely conversation.
To the interactive interview. Interactive wrestling radio.
The Epicenter.
All right, next I'd like to introduce the newest signee to Ring of Honor's Women of Honor division. She returns to Ring of Honor with much fanfare and well over a decade's worth of international experience, who most certainly has an interest in this Friday's Women of Honor World Championship match. Please welcome Madison Rayne to the media call. Hey, Madison.
Hey, thanks for that. That was quite the intro. Hey, guys.
Well, I have a very good writer, so we can thank my my ghostwriter for that.
Let me know who I have to send a goodie basket to for that one.
You got it. So let's get right into this. And Alex Jimenez from Solo Wrestling from Barcelona. Go ahead, Alex.
Hello, Madison. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Fine, thank you. This year we've seen you on Impact Wrestling. Then we also see you on the last edition of WWE's Mae Young Classic. Despite all of that, you signed a contract with Women of Honor. What was the main factor that motivated you for signing a contract with Ring of Honor over the other companies?
Well, I don't think that it was, I don't want to toot my own horn and say that, I was sought after by everyone and highly in demand, but I will say that I'm thankful for and humbled by all of the opportunities that this year has presented me. Like you said, I have been able to work for Impact Wrestling, compete once again for the Knockouts Championship, which obviously is very special to me and has held a large portion of important moments in my career. To finally have been able to wrestle for WWE and be part of something as big as the Mae Young Classic was, again, a highlight of my career. Earlier this summer, being able to compete for the Women of Honor Championship was incredible. And to be part of that first tournament to crown the first ever Women of Honor champion, and then to be part of All In, which you guys all know was an incredible history-making moment. It's just all felt really good, but when it comes down to it, and when it came down to making the decision for what was best for me and for my career, it just felt like Ring of Honor was that perfect fit. And I know that Jay spoke about it earlier on the call, that the locker room, that there's just something really special about the locker room. And for me, at this point in my career, being part of good energy and being part of something bigger than myself, and I think that helping grow Women of Honor the way that I hope I was able to help grow the Knockouts division, that's what feels good for me. That's what feels right. And Ring of Honor has always brought something different and something special to the table, and I'm looking forward to the next year. I'm equal parts excited and nervous for what's to come. And it just came down to that gut feeling for me. And my gut told me that Ring of Honor was where I needed to call home moving forward.
Thank you, Madison.
Thank you.
All right, Alan Wu from the Sports Courier. Go ahead, Alan.
I appreciate it, Madison. I still have the incident from last night with Liv Morgan and Brie Bella on my mind. You're a veteran of the business. What goes through your mind? Has there ever been serious bumps that you witnessed while you were working?
Serious bumps that I've witnessed? Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, that is a job hazard that we all know exists when we sign up to become professional wrestlers. And it's unfortunate that it does happen. Thankfully, I think it happens very infrequently. But, you know, and unfortunately, there's social media gives everyone a voice. So when accidents happen, like what happened last night between Liv and Brie, you know, the performers carry that with them. You know, I'm sure that Brie feels horrible for what happened, and I know that she expressed that in a statement on social media. But the fact that not only does she have to let that weigh on her, but then social media takes it and turns it into something even bigger. That's the real unfortunate part. I mean, and again, I wasn't there. I don't know firsthand, but from what I've seen and read, it sounds like Liv is going to be okay. And so I'm sure everyone is thankful for that. But I mean, it's an occupational hazard. We all know that potential is there every time we step into the ring. We're all trained, hopefully, trained well in what we do. But yeah, I mean, accidents are bound to happen. It's unfortunate when it happens, and it's unfortunate that, you know, social media makes it out to be something way bigger than what it is.
Absolutely. Really appreciate your thoughts. Thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you. Bill Pritchard from WrestleZone. Go ahead, Bill.
Hi, Madison. How are you?
Hello. I'm wonderful.
The first caller touched early on about your experience on TV this summer, and I was just wondering, like, if you had any thoughts about trying to mix things up, just so, you know, maybe presenting something different to ROH this time around, or if fans that watched you on Impact and WWE might see something new with this current run in Women of Honor.
Yeah, short answer is yes. One of the factors in trying to figure out where home was going to be for me after this crazy summer was which place, which company, which locker room is going to push me outside of my comfort zone. And I go back to, I've referenced several times, the feuds that I've had with both Mickie James and Gail Kim throughout the years. Every single one of those matches throughout both of those storylines pushed me outside of my comfort zone in the ring and forced me to either go back and remember things that I used to do in the first years of my career, or completely reinvent myself and reinvent my moveset. And I feel like with Ring of Honor, with Women of Honor, it's a combination of new opponents, because I spent so much time at Impact Wrestling. And again, I can't thank everyone who was a part of my career at Impact enough. But I was with the same circle of women, you know, with a few interchangeable pieces for many, many years. So now that I'm with a new locker room full of talented women, and I always feel like there's this high energy and this level of expectation with Ring of Honor fans. And I never want to disappoint them, because I feel that they're very quick to let me know if I do. So that's all exciting for me. This many years into my career, the fact that I can be reinvigorated and re-excited with a new platform, with a new locker room, and with a new company, it excites me. But that's what I meant when I said earlier that it makes me nervous, because it's going to continue, at least for this next year, to force me out of my comfort zone and to learn new things and try new things if I'm going to hang with these girls in Women of Honor.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bill. Carlos Toro from Whitepool.com. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hi, Madison. Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us. You mentioned finding a locker room that kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone, and the women of the roster being, you know, as good as it is right now. Now that you signed with Ring of Honor, what are your goals for the company?
Well, again, a short answer to that question is I want to be Women of Honor champion. I want to be the one carrying the flag for this division. And I know that for certain. First and foremost was from my experience being part of the tournament to crown the first Women of Honor champion. Obviously, that didn't work out the way that I would have hoped or planned for it to. I went out in the first round. But then later in the summer, having the opportunity to challenge for the Women of Honor championship. And I would like to think that Sumi and I took each other to our limits. And, you know, it was just a reminder of how hungry everyone in this division is, and how much everyone wants to see it succeed. And I have no doubt that it will. And I want to be the figurehead for that. I want to be the one who, when people look back on most successful Women of Honor champions of all time, I definitely want to be the one. I want to be the one who sets the standard. And Sumi set it incredibly high. And I don't know who's going to walk out of Vegas as Women of Honor champion, but I know that regardless, whether it's Sumi or whether we have a new champion in Tennille, that bar is going to continue to be high. And I want to be the one that comes in and sets it higher.
All right, thank you. Chris Featherstone, Pancakes and Power Slams, etc. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Madison. Thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, over the past couple of years, I would say Cody Rhodes on the male side became the hottest free agent, and I'm going to don you on the female side as being the hottest free agent in professional wrestling.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the common thread, interestingly, is that both of you within your free agency signed with Ring of Honor, which speaks volumes to the company. It also seems a common thread that we live in as far as the wrestling business is concerned, we live in a really healthy place of options. WWE, although it's a great company, is not like the end all be all anymore. What advice would you give, female wrestlers in the WWE, in Impact Wrestling, which you spent a long portion of your career in, who aren't very happy with what they are and do have available options right now?
Well, my hope is that everyone who is a part of any of the WWE locker rooms or the Impact locker room, I hope that they're happy. And if they're not, then I hope they do some self-reflection and they understand that, regardless of which of the companies it is, that they're working for one of the top wrestling companies in the world. And there are always going to be times with every person in any wrestling company where they may not love what they're doing on any given night. But at the end of the day, my hope is that anyone under a contract to work for any of the big wrestling promotions in the world, that they realize what it is that they are getting to do. And that's something that I've worked really hard throughout my career to never lose sight of. I could wake up tomorrow and have to go work a 9-to-5 job. And I can tell you right now, without even having to do it, that I wouldn't love it. We're all being given a great opportunity, but to anybody who might be in one of those companies whose time may be running out, I would encourage you and challenge you to look to Ring of Honor as an option, because it is exactly that. It's a viable option. It's one of the top companies in the world. And, I can only speak for me. I can only speak for what's best for Madison Rayne. But, I was given very incredible opportunities this summer. And Ring of Honor is where I chose to call home. So, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason that Cody and Brandy call Ring of Honor home. There's a reason that Tennille Dashwood calls Ring of Honor home. And it's because Ring of Honor offers something special. It offers an incredible energy. It offers a locker room where anybody who comes into it is embraced, as long as they have the best interest of the division or the company at heart. and it's exciting. It's new. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit edgier. And I think that for us as performers, that excites us, that invigorates us. And I think specifically for performers like myself and Cody and Brandy, who have been around wrestling for such a long time, this gives us something to be excited about again, and lets us kind of go back to those first few years of our career when everything was exciting and new and made us nervous. And I feel like for whatever reason, that's what Ring of Honor does for us. So again, I hope that everybody's happy in what they're doing, but if not, I challenge, especially the women, to come give Women of Honor a chance.
Great advice. Thanks a lot, Madison.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Jason Paul, ProWrestling.net. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, Madison, you touched on this a little bit, but with the rise of women's wrestling from the so-called Divas days, the in-ring style has changed and the quality's improved. Is it more challenging today? Do you feel more pressure to deliver quality matches than maybe you did earlier in your career?
Yes, 100%. Now, early in my career, I was given opportunities maybe before I was ready for them, Ring of Honor being one of them. And I'm so thankful that I think it was 2007, that I was given a chance to wrestle for Ring of Honor. But I'm not sure, looking back, that I was quite ready. But now, after a few years have gone by in my career, it makes me nervous, and it makes me excited because I'm able to, I don't know if a new generation is the right way to term this, but I was able to be part of the beginning years of the Knockouts division, and now I'm able to continue and be part of what this group of women's wrestlers brings to the table. I've been able to get in the ring with amazing talents like Deonna Purrazzo and Tessa Blanchard and Britt Baker and Chelsea Green. And so in doing that, though, I've realized that these girls are young and they're hungry, and they're bringing something totally different to the table than what I've been used to in a really long time. And I think it's moments like that for those of us that have been around women's wrestling for a while, that are either going to make or break our career going forward. And that's why I said that I've reinvented myself, because with what these newer girls are bringing to the table, you have to either reinvent yourself, and you have to find a way to hang with these girls, or wrestling is going to pass you by. And I refuse to let that happen to me.
All right, thanks, Jason. Jim Barcelone from Miami Herald. Go ahead, Jim.
Madison, how much of a factor in making your decision had to do with Ring of Honor not having as grueling a schedule as WWE or other companies, and having also to factor in family time for you?
It's like, me, like we've talked a time or two before, Jim. That was definitely a contributing factor, and what I meant when I said that I needed to figure out what was going to be best for me, both in the ring and outside of the ring, because at this stage in my life, I am a mother, I am a wife, I am a college student, I'm a personal trainer. I wear a lot of hats on a daily basis, and to be able to continue my wrestling career, to continue to pursue my dream, but do it in a way that doesn't disrupt the rest of my life, I really needed to evaluate, options. And that was just one of the contributing factors to why Ring of Honor made the most sense for me. Again, these girls in this division that I have worked with have really shown me what this next year is going to look like for me. And the ones that I haven't been able to get in the ring with, I'm excited to do that. But I'm also incredibly thankful to Ring of Honor for providing a space for performers like me who have a family or have that desire to have a family while chasing their dream and while pursuing their career in professional wrestling. So yes, it was definitely a contributing factor, but there were many factors that made the decision for me that Ring of Honor and Women of Honor was what I wanted to be a part of moving forward.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you very much. All right, James Walsh from Wrestling Epicenter. Go ahead, James.
Hey, Madison, it's James from Wrestling Epicenter. It's a pleasure to finally speak with you. I've been wanting to have you on my show for probably 10 years, to be honest. So, pleasure to have you on. All right.
Well,
so
send me an email. Let's try to work that out.
All right, we'll do that. Something I was going to ask you, and a lot of great questions have already been asked, so I kind of checked off on my list as we were going along. But something I wrote down was actually from what Jay Lethal said earlier on. He kind of shied away from the word veteran. And you are a veteran of the ring and are still able to go at an incredibly high level. Do you personally love or dislike the word veteran as it comes to your performance in the ring?
I don't like it at all. And here's why. And I remember sitting down with the commentary team the night of All In and talking a little bit about this, because while I think I had more years of experience in that match at All In than what Britt, Tessa, and Chelsea had combined, in present day, I would say in the last 3 years, those girls have been out every weekend wrestling. They eat, sleep, and breathe wrestling. That's their life, and that's what makes you a successful professional wrestler. That's how I started my career also. The difference is now that's not my lifestyle. So while I've got the years of experience, and that will work to my advantage in many ways, thinking on the fly in the ring being one of those ways, being more methodical maybe than these young girls, that's going to be another advantage that I'll have. Where my disadvantage lies is in that these girls are getting a lot more hands-on experience every weekend in different cities, in different arenas, with different opponents. And that's something that, to a lesser degree, I have experience at this point. I still go out and I do independent shows occasionally, but not nearly as much as these girls. And so they're gaining more experience with like-minded opponents. Whereas I'm definitely reinventing myself, but I may reinvent myself on a Monday, take a college class on Tuesday, and then go to the PTO meeting for my daughter's school on Wednesday. So I'm juggling a lot of different things. So the term veteran, while I appreciate it, and while I'm thankful that I've been able to get to what a lot of people see as that status, because there's something special to be said for as many years as I've been able to be a part of this business. But times are changing, in professional wrestling as a whole, but specifically with women's wrestling. So again, while I may be the veteran in a lot of matches, that doesn't mean that in what women's wrestling is today, that I'm the most experienced. So I don't lie heavily on the fact that I'm a veteran in most situations, because I'm reinventing myself and I'm still learning. And if you're not still learning, that's when you become stale as a performer, and that's a dangerous space to get into.
When I interviewed, I'm going to let you go, but when I interviewed your husband, he said you were looking for a home, and that phrase has come up a lot this conversation. So congratulations to you on finding a home at Ring of Honor.
Thank you so much. I hope that Josh was nice to you.
He was.
Okay.
All
good.
right. Awesome. Thank you. Evan from Under the Mat. Go ahead, Evan.
Thank you, Madison, for joining us today.
Absolutely.
One actually, on your Twitter account, you put down or tweeted, I should say, 4 things that should already exist in the year 2018, which me and myself thought was hilarious. Wanted to ask you now, since you're in Ring of Honor, what 4 things should we look out for or watch out for, since you're now a part of the Women of Honor?
Which 4 things with me specifically?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I guess I can answer that just in one bullet point is that, you know, and I know that Jay spoke to this earlier about we as performers, to be as prepared as we can for every match. We do our homework. We watch matches of our opponent. We study our opponents the best way that we possibly can. And I know that. I've done it before. But for these girls in Women of Honor now who may think that they're going to get the upper hand on Madison Rayne by doing that, by watching, you know, they've got 10 years of footage that they can pull up on YouTube and try to watch and think that they know what I'm going to do. And I hate to keep going back to the same phrase of reinventing myself, but that's literally what I've been doing. I've been learning new wrestling moves. I've been learning new in-ring psychology. So the four things, I guess, that I'm going to bring to the table, I can all be encompassed in one phrase, and that's a brand new Madison Rayne.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Morgan Richards from Radio Cardiff, all the way over there. Go ahead, Morgan.
Hey, Madison, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. So, of course, you mentioned earlier that 2018 has been one of the really standout years for you, even though you've been 13 years in the business. What would you really put this down to now and being able to compete with so many various companies as you have over the last couple of months?
So I've spoken a bit about this. It was roughly a year and a half ago that I sat down on my couch in my living room with my husband and had a really tough conversation where we tried to decide if maybe my career was coming to a close and what that was going to look like, or if I was going to take any frustrations I had and any bit of second guessing myself that I was doing, and I was going to flip that on its head, make it a positive, and totally change who I was, and make a drastic turn in my career path. And I think in moments like that, where you're questioning what's next, is where you really dig deep enough to find yourself and figure out what you want and what you're able to still provide to this business. And I am so glad that I was able to do that, that I got to that point mentally where I thought for a second that maybe it was time to look towards retirement, because I very quickly realized that I wanted to do the complete opposite. And I think that has been probably the biggest contributing factor in my insanely successful 2018, because when I made that decision to change myself and to elevate my game, that's when opportunities started coming left and right. And you know, I'm not just saying this because of the position that I'm in now. I knew early on, when I was being given all of these opportunities, that I obviously was going to take them all and be grateful for all of them, and do everything I could with them. But it's been the better part of a year that I've known, I think, in my heart that where I was going to end up was going to be Ring of Honor.
Amazing. Cheers, Madison.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Morgan. A couple more people. I think that will include everybody. So, Paul from Two-Face Wrestling. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, Madison. Thanks for taking the time.
Hey, absolutely.
I wanted to ask you about your experience at All In and what it was like being in that match and the energy in the building, and then also being highlighted in Cody's All Us channel.
Oh my gosh. I think it was on Taz's show recently that I mentioned this, but there are a handful of us who competed at All In that are still talking about what we have coined the All In hangover, because it was just such an amazing night for all of us, for our careers, and I think for professional wrestling. I mean, what Cody and the Young Bucks were able to put together was, I mean, it's history making, and I'm just so glad that I was one of only 4 women in that match. It was, and again, I think in saying this that I'm correct. If not, somebody at some point on Twitter will tell me that I'm wrong. But I'm fairly certain that All In was the biggest crowd that I've ever performed in front of. And it was one of the most high pressure situations that I've been in a really long time, between the pressure that I put on myself and the just how big that moment felt, how big that night was for all of us. I mean, there was equal parts excitement and pressure, I think, that we all, especially the women, put on ourselves, because there was one women's match. We had one chance to go out there and give it everything we had, and prove to the 11,000 people that were there and everyone who was watching, why Cody and why the Young Bucks chose the 4 of us to be part of that. It was, I hope that in the near future, I have another moment that may top All In, but I am fairly certain that I can say that All In was the highlight of my career thus far.
It was incredible. Well, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Paul. All right. We got one final question for Madison. Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talk Wrestling in Austin. Go ahead, Stu. Wrap this thing up in a way that only you can.
Thanks, Mark. All the pressure. Matt.
Wow, no pressure there.
Good to talk to you. I want to ask you this. Women's wrestling has been on such a rise in the last couple of years. And I know you had a part in that, in the start of that evolution with your time in TNA with the beautiful people and so on and so forth. Reflect on what your part in that rise has been to what we see today. And do you consider yourself a custodian of that legacy?
I would like to think and hope that I had some part in creating what is this evolution in women's wrestling. But I think that one of the reasons that I've been so successful and that I've been able to have a 13-year career and that I've been able to experience all these different locker rooms is because I've remained grounded and humble. And so, while I hope that I've been able to contribute to it, and I know that being part of the beautiful people was career changing for me, and I'm forever thankful for that opportunity. And along the way, I've learned, I've grown, I've had some incredible matches that I hope go down in history as some of the best matches in women's wrestling. I try not to put that pressure on myself because, like I said, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I think that my biggest contributions to this evolution of women's wrestling are still yet to come, in that I have had so many years on television, but especially in this next year, that I'm going to change myself so much. I hope to have matches within Women of Honor with some of these incredible women that will absolutely be highlights in the evolution of women's wrestling. That's my hope for the next year. So talking about putting no pressure on yourself. But yeah, to answer your question, I hope in some way that I've contributed to what people perceive as one of the most successful times ever in women's wrestling.
I would wholeheartly agree.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Stu, and thank you, Madison. Again, thanks for taking a little bit more time with everyone. I know I appreciate it. I hope all of our journalist friends do as well.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate everyone for hanging out and talking with me this afternoon.
All right, fantastic. That's all the time we have for our media call. Once again, Death Before Dishonor takes place this Friday, September 28th at 9 p.m. Eastern from the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. The event will air live on pay-per-view for Honor Club members through the ROH app and on all Apple and Android devices. or ROHHonorClub.com. VIP members will receive the live and on-demand stream for free, and standard Honor Club members will receive a 50% discount. The event will also stream for purchase through Fight TV. Doors open at the Orleans this Friday at 4 p.m. local time, as fans will be treated to exclusive meet and greets with the top stars of Ring of Honor and New Japan. And there are still a few tickets left for this event and our international TV taping on Saturday evening at the Orleans, and fans can get theirs now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information on Ring of Honor and Death Before Dishonor, you can visit ROHWrestling.com or open the new ROH app. Thanks again for joining us, everyone, and have a great day. If anyone's going to come to Vegas, I would love to see you there personally.
Thank you, Mark.
All right.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you all, and I do appreciate
Thank you, Mark.
joining us up on all of on these calls. It's really special for me to be able to do this, and I hope we can do it again soon. Enjoy the rest of your day and the week.
Thank you.
You,
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Top conference. This session is no longer being recorded.
This is the Wrestling Epicenter. For over 15 years, we've brought you the top names in professional wrestling for exclusive interviews. Everybody you see here has been interviewed by our site. But we're more than just interviews. So be sure and check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for news, results, information, and of course our store. WrestlingEpicenter.com, your #1 source for wrestling information.